All right, this video is on percents. So we have a few different types of questions to go through. And so the first one is percent discount. So that's like, you know, something costs a certain amount, now it's on sale. What's the percent discount? And so we have this formula up here at the top where it says new minus old divided by old. That's a formula you just have to have in your mind, especially the part where you're dividing by the old number, not by the new number. Okay, so if we have our example kind of already start to write it out here. We have plane ticket was $400. Now it's on sale for $300. What is the percent discount? Okay, so let's plug some of this stuff in. So 300 is the new number. There's our 300 minus 400 was the old number, right? Divided by, again, the old number is 400, right? Okay. So from there, that means minus 300 minus 400 is minus 100. 400 stays the same. Okay, cross some of these zeros out, cross that out, cross that out, and then I just got negative 1/4, right? So negative 1/4 as a 1/4 as a percentage is 25%. There we go. That's our answer. Now, if you don't know how I got to the negative 25%, that's just converting fractions, right? So if I have that 1/4 and I multiply the bottom and the top by 25, right? So I just do like that and like that. Then in the denominator on the bottom, I got 100 now, which is what I want to change anything to a percent. On the top, 25. So if you already knew it, great. And it wasted a couple seconds of your time. If you didn't know how you got to 25, that's very important, because otherwise you could do everything right and still not get the right answer. Okay, so that's percent discount. That's how we do those. Let me erase. I got a little bit of room. And so the next one is going to be consecutive month type question. Okay, so like stock market or bank account type questions are very common with these. Okay, so like with this one, it says, so I own a stock. It doesn't tell me how much, right? I own a stock and it goes up 15% 1 month, month one, and then it goes down 20% next month. And then they say, what was my percent increase or decrease? Okay, and so it's very tempting and unfortunately wrong to think, okay, well, it went up 15 and down 20. 20 is 5 more than 15, so I went down 5%. And that will be an answer choice, and unfortunately, that will not be correct. And so here's what we do is we want to plug in a number that's easy to do this with, right? So I like to pick like 100. Okay, so I have 100 and, right, went up 15%. 100 times that 0.15 is 15. My new number is going to be 115. I have that 100 already, added 15, so I got 115. That's what up 15% got me. Then it goes down 20%, right? And so here's the reason right here why you're not going to get down 5%. It's because I'm multiplying it by a new number, right? I'm multiplying it by that 115. If it was just 100 times 15 and then 100 times 20, 100 times 0.15 and 100 times 0.20, you would get the right answer of down 5%. But here, 115 times 0.20 is 23, right? So that number is 23. Okay, and so from 115, which is what we had at the end of the first month, you're going to have 115, and then it's going to drop by 23. That's going to give us 92. Okay, and so it actually dropped by 8%, right? Because we started at 100, right? Started at 100, ended up at 92, it's down 8. So that's how we would go about finding something like that, is always making sure, you're multiplying this new number here, this 115. If you're doing that, you're in good shape. Start with a number that's easy to use. 100's really the best choice. Okay, those are tricky. That one right there. At least don't pick 5%. You can at least do that. Like the one that looks so obvious, right, that it's 5%, is if it looks that obvious for something like this, is it's not right. So don't pick that easy 5%. They want you to do math. They don't want just like complete common sense answer. Okay, and then we have combining percentages. Okay, so we got two more types of questions here. So combining percentages. So what would that look like? Okay, so we say 40% of the class is male, 20% is not from the United States. What percentage of students are both male and not from the United States? Okay, so we write that one out. 40% is male. So we want to work on using our common sense. A lot of people just aren't used to using common sense with math, and so they rush through this stuff way too much. And there's a 20%, that M just means male, and 20% is not from the United States. Not US. Okay, and then they want to know what percentage of students are both, so they're male and not from the United States. Okay, so we have these two numbers here, right? 40 and 20. Okay, so only 40% are male, and a lot lower percentage than that are not from the United States, right? So we know this answer is going to be lower than both of these percentages individually, right? Because it's a combination of the two, right? And so any answer that's more than 20%, you got to cross out, right? And the way you solve this is just by multiplying the two percentages together. Okay, so 40% is the same as 0.4. 20% is the same as 0.2. Multiply these two together, we get 0.08. And 0.08 is 8%, which I guess is a popular number for this video because that was what the last answer was. So that's going to be, your answer is 8%. But again, with the common sense part, just knowing that 20% are not from the United States, right? But probably, I mean, it doesn't give us this information, but probably some of those people who are not from the United States are female, right? So when it's 20%, when it's not from the United States and male, we know that number is going to go down. Okay, so just from a common sense standpoint, there's probably going to be a couple of answers greater than 20%. Get rid of those before you even start doing math. And the less confident you feel about math, partly it's going through this, doing the questions in the app, getting the feedback, that'll help you with the process of getting better at these. But the other part is just thinking about things in common sense before we do any math. All right, one last question. So that was combining percentages. When you're asked to combine percentages, multiply them together. Okay, kind of a slow eraser. And last one of questions. Okay, so we write this question out. 15 is, and these are tricky too, is 20% of what number? Okay, they're just worded tricky. $15 is 20% of what number? Okay, so let's focus in first of all on this 20%. Okay, so we're going to have to turn this into a formula. Okay, so we want to know that right away. 15 is, and so when we see the word is, that means equals. Okay, equals 20% of some number. Okay, so 20%, we can write that as 1 over 5. Okay, 1 over 5 equals 0.2, right? You can take out your calculator and divide it if you want. 1/5 is 20%. Okay, so we want to know that. Okay, and then it's going to be equals 15, and then some number. That what thing right there of some number. We don't know what that we're asking for. X. Okay, and that's how we set this up. And then from here, you just have to cross multiply. Yeah, so 1 times x is just x, or 1x. 15 times 5. 15 times 5 is 75. Okay, and that's the answer. So it's tricky to set up. You have to practice these. Like for most people, you have to see quite a few of these. And like I said earlier, that's what the app is there for, to give you lots of practice and feedback on how to do it. But that's what you want. We wanted to set it up as 1/5 because that was 20% equals 15 over some number. Once you have seen enough of these, it's not really all that hard to set up, but it does take a little bit of practice.